does play that role full-time or part-time, what do you see the advantages of Charlie in that role, particularly now that there's a DH?
Right. I think, well, first of all, experienced major league hitter, has been there before, comfortable in that spot. Gets on. I mean, for me, the role is a couple different things. A guy who can get on base, a guy that you want up as many times as possible in the game, right? That's why you put guys at the top of the order. Good base runner, maybe not base stealer anymore, but yet, a smart player. Understands the game, understands, what he needs to do to start a game. And it could be anything. Could be first pitch hack, homer. Could be, given a great at bat to see a number of pitches that the guys following him see, early in the game from the starting pitcher. So it's many things that could occur, and Charlie's capable of all those things.
And as a run producer, we saw him 103 RBIs
Sure.
from the leadoff spot a few years ago, but now behind him,
Sure.
you have a DH instead of a pitcher,
Yeah.
which gives him an
Yeah,
opportunity.
you have
to run
another
hitters.
position player that when the order comes around, that the guys who hit 1 and 2 potentially have guys on base at a more common rate.
Does the DH take away from the type of guy like we used to have a stereotype leadoff hitter?
Right. Though I think those days are gone.
The DH takes that away, right? It gives you more leverage, more flexibility.
Well, I don't know whether I think that the prototypical leadoff hitter I think is still can be defined, but it's hard to find that guy, right? If you go to the highest standard, right? Ricky Henderson, probably the most prolific leadoff hitter of all time, Hall of Famer. But Trey Turner, pretty good leadoff hitter. I mean, in my mind, I don't know what they're gonna do. He led off the other day in a spring training game, but he sort of fits that prototypical type. Probably more so because he's got power. I mean, the old school was a little pesky guy, sees a lot of pitches, takes, fouls balls off. Maybe can run. I mean, you like a guy who can run, right? To set the tempo for a game right off the bat. If he gets on, it puts pressure on the pitcher and catcher. And the defense. But
Couple questions on that.
I mean, those type of players are the defined one. The definition is the good ones are like really good.
Yeah, it's almost like an ace. You don't have many aces, not many.
Yeah.
A couple of questions about leadoff. Last year, when you guys got going offensively, part of that was Connor Joe at the top of the order. I know
Right.
you can bet him anywhere.
Yeah.
Is there any
He
thought-
could lead off potentially against left-handed starters maybe if he's in the lineup and he's swinging well. Because the guy who takes high on base percentage in the minors showed a nice on base percentage with us, the ability to hit and the ability to draw a walk. One guy's get on base.
And
If you talk to analytics and quantitative analysis people, offense is based around on base percentage. Runs are scored by on base. The more people get on base.
Do you have to talk to analytics guys to figure that out?
I don't.
and
I hope not.
as you said, Charlie, not a base stealer at this point, but a pretty good runner. Is there any, if you do go in another direction, whether it's permanently or in some games, is there a thought of getting more speed at the top of the lineup? Would that be kind of a determining factor?
Maybe if Hampy's playing well. I mean, Hampy's, we've hit Hampy leadoff before too. But Hampy's got to get on base at a higher rate than he's shown in his career, right?
Last one on that is Charlie, if he's a leadoff guy, it takes him out of the middle of the order. Do you feel like it frees him up a little bit to?
Probably a better question. I don't think that matters to Charlie. I think Charlie has the same mindset no matter where he hits. I think he hits to the game situation. I think that's the thing that stands out the most, for me with Charlie, depending on the game situation, what he's trying to do. And there's a lot of game situations. I mean, if somebody leads off in front of Charlie and gets a double, Charlie's going to get the guy over. If there's a man on second with 2 outs, Charlie's going to try to get a hit to knock in the run. If there's a man on third with less than 2 outs, Charlie's going to knock him in with either a hit, sac fly, if the infield's back. I mean, whatever the situation allows for. He's probably one of our better situational hitters. He'll do what the game tells him to do.
I want to ask you about a guy that we really didn't see in camp, but obviously you're working with him, Chris Olivares. What are you trying to do to get him big league speed?
Well, last year was a tough year for him, just in the control grade. If you were on the scouting scale, we identified some things that in the off season that we really wanted him to concentrate on as far as his delivery. We did those in an instructional league down here in Arizona. He took those to heart this off season, and hopefully it shows up, in the minor leagues this year. He's got to throw strikes. Because the stuff plays.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I'd heard that he really took those to heart. When you saw him in, different drills here, whether it's live BP or whatever, do you feel like he's getting it?
He's practicing. It takes time. Doesn't happen overnight.
Do you film in games down there now?
I think he had a little bit of a shoulder issue when he came into camp. That's been resolved. I got to double check to see where he is, whether he's pitching this week, but I know he's very close to pitching games if he hasn't already.
I just want to ask about. Never mind. I just forgot what I was going to do.
It'll come back to you.
I have 2 more questions. One, I talked to Peter Lambert this morning.
That's what it
He
was.
said he's going to throw a live BP tomorrow. I know he made 2 big league starts last year coming back from Tommy John. Where is he? Are you guys just being a little bit extra cautious?
You were being
with
caught,
him?
yeah.
Okay.
I think we're being extra cautious, and also knowing that there's going to be an innings limit on Peter this year, right? I mean, I don't see Peter in a starting role grinding out, 200 innings from where he was, the previous couple of years. So
Right.
we'll be judicious with how we use Peter.
But he's healthy. I mean,
He's healthy, yeah.
but you're just being cautious.
Yeah, he had a little bit of an elbow flare up. I don't know if flare up's the right word. He had a little bit of elbow soreness at the tail end of the lockout.
Okay.
And when he came in, we put him on a slower pace.
And my other
And he's fine now. He feels really good.
Okay, my other question for you, when you determine who's going to be your primary ninth inning guy or who's ever in the mix, you have a lot of pitchers on
But
this.
obviously, that can change
Yes.
over time, sure. But
you have a lot of pitchers on the staff, both starters and relievers, who get a lot of ground balls, right? But do you need somebody in the ninth who can go get you the strikeout when you need it? Is that integral
or the
part?
seventh or the eighth or the
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you
especially
love strikeout bullpens,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I mean, you really.
But how critical is that? to
I
you?
don't know, it depends on it. I don't know how critical it is,
Okay.
percentage-wise. You need pitchers who get outs.
The reason
Right.
I ask
I
is
mean, every pitcher is different.
because
Yeah, we can go back in the history of
no,
time.
but Bard strikes out guys at a pretty high clip.
Big time.
Colomay used to, but in the last couple of years, not as much, and he's got more ground balls out. So I'm
Right.
just wondering from
Yeah.
the Rockies' philosophy.
It depends on your personnel,
Okay.
right? There's no hard set philosophy. You like the strikeout, right? The whip sort of is important as a closer,
Okay.
right? If you walk guys, you better get the strikeout. If you don't walk guys and you get your outs via the ground ball or the miss hit or the high fly ball. I mean, that counts too.
Sure.
So it's about the talent of the pitcher and how he gets his outs, and without having a run score, or 2 runs, or 3 if he has a 3-run lead, right? Just to get it done.
Right.
But generally speaking, over the history of the game, the best closers usually have strikeouts.
Right.
They usually have good stuff that produces the strikeout. And that can come in a lot of different ways, right? Velocity, breaking pitch, split finger, slider, curveball, whatever it is. But that enhances your chances because they're not putting the ball in play.
Sure.
But we've also seen, closers who it's rare that you have a closer who doesn't have a great strikeout rate. It's usually pretty good. Doesn't have to be exorbitant,
Right.
but it has to usually be pretty good. Because you never know what might happen, right? Blooper, borderline 3-2 pitch. It's a ball, walk, guy gets on, error, hit by pitch, and in a 1-run game, it's a ground ball somewhere. Maybe you don't turn the double play, guy goes to second, blue pit, tie game. I mean,
Right.
So the strikeout does come in handy. But between, I would get to, I'm sorry, but to get to your guy, I mean, Bard, Colomé, Esteves, those 3 guys who have save history, and we'll figure that out.
Sammy, give this.
I'm sorry, Samantha.
No, you're good. So thinking about Willie McIver, and he performed really well in Spokane, ran into a little bit of a rough patch in Hartford.
Rough patch in Hartford,
but
yeah.
still made the Futures game last year. Or was selected, I should say.
Right.
What were some things that you have seen out of him that you really like, and what do you think he needs to take the next step?
Really like the improved defense. I think first of all, you look at catcher, he's got to play defense. That's imperative. So our catching guys, Redmond, Munoz, Stripmeyer, all our guys who've worked with Willie have been impressed with the improved defense. Receiving, blocking, throwing, all looks good. Good head on his shoulders, bright guy. So ultimately the pitch calling, the pitcher-catcher relationship, all those intangibles that go into a good catcher working with a pitching staff are in place and are, in a really good spot. So we won't have to worry. We won't have to worry about Willie on that end, which is great. And he's learned a lot the last couple of years. Offensively is where it has to improve a little bit. And it's stronger this spring. He had a good off season. Again, hitters continue to make adjustments with their swing based on what they learn from facing better quality pitching, right? An A ball, pitchers aren't as good because they're an A ball.
Mm-hmm.
Get to Double A, they're a little better. They're a little better in Triple A. But again, that you get to AAA in our environment and altitude in Albuquerque, and you really have to have a critical eye on an offensive player. You really do. And subjectively, you also you got to understand on the pitching side too what you're seeing from there. So, but I think overall, Willie's offense has to uptick a bit.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.